WrestleMania 13 is a WrestleMania I'm really not too fond of, and it's really quite dull when you look at it. The WWE was showing glimpses of its potential at its time. I mean, this is right around the time where WCW was getting a lot of was getting hot. The NWO was coming into play. Uh, WWF was pretty much like the second second resort. The last no, it's not the last resort, but it's like the B team, or WCW was the A team. I mean, WCW had Hogan, Hall, Nash, Savage, Perfect, Luger, Sting, a lot of guys, but it was still a transformation phase, so to speak, for the WWF. I mean, Austin, this WrestleMania had a lot of great matches. I mean, you had Austin versus Bret, and having Shawn Michaels on commentary was a nice touch. But Sid versus Taker, while decent, wasn't main event worthy, to be honest with you, at all. The crowd is in this WrestleMania was still pretty game, pretty all right, but I really question some of the decisions that went on here. All right, matches right off the bat. Here we go. We got a four-way tag team elimination match featuring the Headbangers, the Godwins, Doug Furnace and Phil LaFon, and the Blackjacks. It's a rather average match. I mean, it's not the best opener in WrestleMania, but it's definitely not the worst. It's rather average, if you ask me. It's nothing truly outstanding happens here. The Headbangers were always a unique sight, though, and seeing them win was very, very good. Actually, I actually like the Headbangers back in the day when they were looking like juggalos and all that stuff. Although juggalos are douchebags. Anyway, now we got the Intercontinental title match. Rocky Maivia, a.k.a. The Rock, defending his Intercontinental Championship against the Sultan, whoever that is. And Honky Tonk Man is on commentary, which is kind of interesting. This wasn't The Rock's heyday, so so he gets very little crowd reaction here. This match wasn't actually that bad, to be honest with you. It had some decent spots with Rikishi, who was the Sultan, mashing well against The Rock. The crowd is completely against The Rock and often cheered for the Sultan, which is kind of funny when you look at it. Rocky wins with the roll up, and afterwards, the Iron Sheik, who was also in the corner of the Sultan, and also Bob Backlund, who was also in the corner of the Sultan, gang up on The Rock when his father, Soul Man Rocky Johnson, makes the save in a pretty cool moment. See the father and son embrace in the middle of the WrestleMania ring. Now we got Triple H versus Goldust. This match was pretty solid, to say the very least, if not truly great. It had a consistent flow and made for a good matchup when you look at it. I like the mind games from China when she kept that she was putting on Marlena, and she get that ragdoll type bear hug thing. Triple H wins with a pedigree after China's interference. Pretty solid match right there. All right, now we got the tag team championship match. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog defending their championships against Mankind and Vader. And this was right around the time where Owen Hart was doing the two-time Slammy Award winning gimmick. It's pretty nice. And there was pretty surprising face pop for Owen and Bulldog. Another solid match here, but doing heel versus heel matches is often risky. And thankfully this one worked out well because Mankind's unorthodox style and Owen and Bulldog's quickness really worked well together. Really worked well together. The match ending is kind of lame. It was a double. It was a double count out. I mean, those finishes are lame, to be honest with you, altogether. Now we got a Chicago street fight. Ahmed Johnson and the Legion of Doom against LOD, which was, Farouk, Crush, and Savio Vega. With D'Lo Brown, Wolfie D, JC, Ice, and Clarence Mason in their corner. It's not bad for a hardcore match with some pretty ugly spots happening. It was one hell of a task living up to Bret Hart and Stone Cold though, but it's still kind of unfair. LOD and Ahmed Johnson win here, and if you see this on the WWE Network or you have the VHS or the DVD, look back because there's a pretty cool cameo by a certain wrestler by the name of Colt Cabana, who's in the audience wearing his ECW shirt, and he gets a few punches in on on Hawk, Road Warrior Hawk. It's just hilarious. All right, now we get to the submission match. We got Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Pretty big pop for Stone Cold Steve Austin, which ultimately resulted in him turning face. Pretty mixed reaction for Bret. More cheers than boos, though, especially in the beginning. The build-up for this match is one of the best, very chilling stuff you'll ever see. You want a classic brawl? Well, look no further than this one. This is as good as it gets. This match stole the show, and these two went all out to make it a memorable match for sure. Many memorable bumps and having Austin pass out instead of tapping out was a very nice touch, and then the double turn was a pretty cool spot. Austin turning face, Bret turning heel after he wants the guest referee Ken Shamrock wants him to fight, and Bret Hart backs away, and thus turning Bret Hart into a heel. A very loud Austin chant after this match. This match was pretty cool. Very, very best. One of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Now we get to the main event. The no disqualification match for the WWF Championship. Psycho Sid versus The Undertaker. And HBK before the match comes out to a decent pop for some commentary. A mixed reaction for Sid. Very nice pop for Undertaker. And Bret Hart, before the match comes out, starts talking some trash, much to the chagrin of HBK. Better than it has any right to be for a big man versus big man match. But it's definitely not, like I said before, it's nowhere near main event worthy. I love Sid and I love The Undertaker, but this is barely above average stuff. Just barely. Undertaker wins the title when Bret screws Sid and Taker hits the tombstone. Overall, WrestleMania 13 is a pretty boring WrestleMania for the most part, with nothing great and outside of the great classic submission match. Things would quickly get better after this, though, and it's an important viewing for wrestling fans to see once, but that's pretty much it. Out of 10, I'm going to rate this WrestleMania a 5.5 out of 10. Best match of the night, hands down, Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. And the worst match of the night was probably the opener, the 4-team elimination match with the Headbangers, Godwins, and the Blackjacks, and that other team I really can't remember. All right, so that's WrestleMania 13. Coming up next, WrestleMania 14.